Hi everybody, my name is Paul Buitink and today I have the pleasure to talk to Robert, community manager of the new national altcoin for Dutch people called the Electronic Gulden. With Robert I'm going to discuss all things you need to know about this currency. Even though we're both Dutch, we're doing this interview in English in order to also inform the foreign people interested in this coin. Disclaimer, I own 10,000 EFL, which translates to about 1.4 Bitcoin at current prices. However, during this interview I'll try to be as unbiased as possible. Hi Robert, welcome.
Hi Paul, thank you for taking the time to contact me.
My pleasure.
I'm sorry we didn't find the time to sit down and chat earlier, but as you might understand, we've been quite busy.
Yes, I'm looking forward to hearing all about it. So could you first tell me briefly what Electronic Gulden is and why it is important?
Well, basically, I think 2 months ago, we noticed that very few Dutch people actually knew or know anything about cryptocurrency in general. And our goal has always been, or actually, there's still a lot of people that don't know anything about cryptocurrency in Holland. A lot of Dutch people seem to want to learn more about it, but they feel like it would just be too complex and hard to understand. So, being Dutch myself, I know how hard it is to change your way of thinking about money in general. We can be quite hard-headed as Dutch people. We needed something to push and force Dutch citizens to look into and really think about using cryptocurrency as a method of payment. We figured that the only way to get people to learn more about cryptocurrency was to use their other weakness, and that would be their greediness, free money. We sure love free money, and by giving away 50% of the electronic guilders, people would have to start using it. Doing so, they would have to install our wallets and work with our wallet addresses slowly, getting used to working with cryptocurrency.
Right, and have you guys also been in touch with the guys behind Aurora Coin to learn from their experience?
No, actually we haven't. We did notice that there is actually quite a lot of other coins going around with the same idea, but the idea was born and we actually didn't know anything about a lot of these coins.
Okay, and so if you look at the price of Aurora Coin, it kind of surprised me because it fell quite a bit, but it's sort of quite steady over the past few days now. So what does it say about the adoption of Aurora Coin in Iceland?
Well, I think something to consider really is that, in Holland obviously we have a lot of more citizens than Iceland has. So when we learned about their coin, we were looking at how are they dealing with distribution and everything, because how on earth are we going to give free electronic guilders to 17 million people? Because of this, we basically realized that that might be something that's almost close to impossible. So instead, we were going to be using a first come first serve system, giving away 50% of the total amount of electronic guilders.
Yeah, so they're in total, the total supply will be 21 million, right? And you're giving away 10.5 million coins, and every person that applies gets 50, or every person that is sort of valid gets 50 coins.
Yeah, exactly, 50 coins. Basically, that means that 210,000 people will be able to claim their share of their free share of electronic guilders.
But is that fair then? Because I can imagine that you want to do a distribution like this in order to get the coin to as many people as possible, but then in this way you will still have sort of the early adopters or people that are online a lot and get their news from online websites and everything. They will then probably be the first to claim the coins, and let's say the lower income people or the less educated people will then miss out on the distribution. Or what is your opinion on that?
That's a good question. The thing is, though, that with our when we were talking to media and everything, we really focused on the general public. Of course, you've got Bitcoin talk and Bitcoin-related forums and topics, and people there seem to figure out a lot about the new cryptocurrencies really quickly. We were just making sure that when we were going to be talking to the press, it would have to be like the Dutch NOS, Volkskrant, Telegraaf, like the newspapers and media that every Dutch citizen reads and hears about.
Yeah, you got a lot of press coverage the past few days. Do you have a lot of other interviews planned for the coming days as well?
Oh, yeah, actually, I think we have been talking to about 30 newspapers and TV stations so far, and we have, I can't give you any numbers, but we have at least 20 more interviews planned for the coming months.
Yeah, with the most important one, obviously, with me.
Obviously, yes.
And how did the distribution take place? Because at first, I think people had to submit documents. When I read about it, I thought, well, this will be such a pain for you guys to go through all these documents, because I think it's a manual job. But then you've changed it, and now people have to send you 1 cent in order to prove their identity, right?
Yeah, true. When we were thinking about how we were going to be dealing with the distribution, the one thing we wanted to make sure is that there weren't going to be any people that were able to or place double claims. That was always our main concern. Like, how are we going to make sure that this distribution system is going to work and be fair? At that time, we figured, well, the only thing to actually make sure that the distribution goes legit is ask for a official certificate.
Proof of residence.
Proof of residence, or like an official document to prove that they're actually Dutch. Obviously, there were a lot of questions about how are you going to be dealing with these with this privacy information, and how you're going to encrypt things. This was a issue in the early stages, and at some point we just figured, well, maybe we're going to have to go to like a somewhat more user-friendly system, asking for less private information, but making sure that there's not going to be any double claims. This is how we figured out. We're just going to be asking people to send us 1 cent using a Dutch bank account. Basically, that way they could prove that almost anyone owns a Dutch banking account. I mean, if you live in Holland, you're going to be needing one. And we could check double claims or filter out double claims using their bank accounts.
Right. So, what if I use a foreign bank account? It will then be rejected.
Yeah.
And what if I use 3 Dutch bank accounts? Do I get 3 times the coins?
Well, if only. No. What we're going to do, or what we're doing right now, is we're just looking into who's already sent us 1 cent, and it's fairly simple to see if there's been any double claims. If you're going to be sending us 3 cents, you're going to receive 1 share, so that's 50 electronic guilders, and the other 2 cents will probably be spent on a good case of beer after distribution is finished.
But how can you verify then that? I mean, for example, Jan Smit, a very common name in Holland, there could be 2 Jan Smits, or it could be 1 Jan Smit with 2 different bank accounts. I'm not sure if you get the address information as well. So how can you make sure that that for common names or whatever you avoid double claims?
Well,
or you reject someone falsely.
Well, I don't think that they will be using the same bank account. So using IP addresses and looking at the bank account number, we're able to filter out double claims fairly simple.
And you're still sitting on a huge treasure trove of data then at some point, because all these people are sending you cents and they are giving away their name and bank account. So is that for some people a problem, you think?
Well, yeah, there's always going to be some people that are going to question our methods, but we're going to have to somehow verify that there's not going to be any double claims. The only thing we can do is just assure everybody that we're dealing with their information in a secure way, obviously deleting every bit of information we have received when the distribution is finished.
Yeah, I claimed my coins yesterday, and I got a confirmation email, even though the website crashed or the page crashed after submitting. So maybe you guys need to look into that. But I got the confirmation email. So when do I get my 50 coins?
It could take up to 3 working days, actually, because of all the media and attention we have been. We have actually received more than 15 or 13,000 requests in like 2 or 3 days. So we're 13,000
requests of evals.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
how many have you honored so far? How many requests?
I think we've already dealt with, I think, 8 or maybe 10,000 requests, so there's probably still around 3,000 requests that we still have to ship out. It usually doesn't take longer than 2 or 3 days. Obviously, when there's a weekend in between, it sometimes takes a bit of time for your 1 cent to get into our banking account. So I think a max of 3 days, really.
It's a manual process then, the whole. So you have to check if the payment is okay.
There's always going to be some manual work, but we've automated most of it.
Right. And your coin launched exactly when again?
I think it was. Didn't prep
30,
this question.
30 March or
yeah,
something.
30th
right?
March or something. It just went really quickly because, well, as you might have heard, there's already a second Dutch coin on the market. And once we heard of that, obviously we were just gonna okay, we have to come out and just contact the media right now because there's gonna be more clones. This means we're onto something good, and well, I think we launched in time.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, there will be a lot of additional media attention, but I think you guys should really focus on user experience at the moment.
Yeah.
The media is now sort of you tick that box, but now people need to make sure that they can trust your coin. And one thing I guess when it comes to trust is who's behind your coin, because I'm talking to you now, but I was supposed to talk to Edward, who's the developer and founder of the coin. I was actually supposed to talk to him last week, and then something came up, and today also something else came up because he had to meet your lawyer. So who's behind the coin, and can you be a bit more open about that? I think the community is really looking forward to learning more about you guys.
Yeah, true. And we do plan to introduce ourselves in due time, but right now we just don't feel like it would add anything besides a lot of unwanted public attention. That aside, it's not like we're hiding. People know how to get in touch with us. I mean, you managed to find me, right?
Yeah, but then again, I mean, I'm putting a bit more effort in it because of me being a journalist. But most people just wanna see a few faces. If the other coins are more transparent, you might lose because of that reason alone. But you guys are going to be more open when?
Well, when we started the distribution, we quickly realized that we're sitting on top of quite a lot of money as the price of the Electronic Gulden is still, well, right now it's actually down a bit, but we do expect it to rise. And there's something to consider here. I mean, we're looking at about, I think, 10 million Electronic Gulders that still have to be distributed. So that's actually quite a lot of money. Because of this, we at the beginning especially, we figured that for now it's best to just stay anonymous. And when the community expects us to be more open and transparent, we will, obviously. We've got a good lawyer. I mean, Mark Durlings, he's like a well-known spokesman also in Holland. So it's not like we're hiding. It's not like we want to stay anonymous. It's just that just for now, we feel that it doesn't really add anything to just put our faces on our website or anything.
But you say when the community expects it, but the community is expecting it because, as you know, I'm very much in touch with the community. Not only on Bitcoin Talk, but on Facebook and all sorts of other places where people hang out to talk about these things, and everyone is dying to know who you guys are. So I would say the time is right.
Okay, we'll take that into consideration, and well, maybe you'll figure out our full names. Let's say in a couple of weeks.
Okay, so but for now it's you, Robert, the community manager, and then we have Edward, the developer, and who else?
We actually got 3 developers. Edward's obviously a founder. We've also got a couple of people that are working on new software, mobile wallets, etc. Because our goal is to just make sure that people actually start using Electronic Gulders as soon as possible, just not for speculation, day-to-day trading, but actually pay and use it in stores. And for that, we're going to need a lot of software. So there's quite a lot of developers working for us right now. Then there's me, obviously. I spend a lot of time on our forums, social media, Bitcoin Talk, and I just make sure that everybody stays updated. I think we're looking at 5 or 6 people in total right now working on this project.
Yeah, and these people are being paid in EFL?
Actually, they're not being paid. We're all still working 2 jobs. We do plan on like adding a huge donate button to our website soon, because we're having a hard time. Obviously we're working less, spending a lot of time in this project. I do have to say that we have a great community, a lot of fans that are offering free help. That's obviously been great.
But I was so sorry to interrupt you there. But you guys, I'm sure you guys insta-mined the crap out of the coin when it's first launched with low difficulty, right? So
yeah, well,
I'm sure you guys are sitting on a lot of gulden. So I don't feel like we have to be sorry.
I really wish that were true. We were having a laugh like a couple of weeks ago because someone mentioned that we should have spent more time mining, spending less time chatting about what we're going to be doing and thinking about the future. But actually, we don't really own a lot of electronic guldens ourselves right now.
Yes, because I put a disclaimer at the start of this podcast that I bought 10,000. I actually bought them at Bittrex a few weeks ago, so don't wonder we're not worth much. But so how many coins do you guys have as developers and founders then?
I think we're looking at 50k or something, maybe 100k. Not that much, really.
Okay, no, that's a very decent.
It would be a nice bonus if Electronic Gulden hits $1. It would be a good vacation for the team, maybe.
Yeah, and earlier you mentioned the other coin, Gulden coin, which is also I think now you can buy it on Bittrex, and it was also mentioned on CoinMarketCap. I think there was even another one. I think eGulden. You guys are e-gulden.com, but there's also eGulden.nl. I think.
Yeah, well, actually we tried to contact eGulden when we were still in the starting phase. Quickly realized that they weren't really that far yet, and we just wanted to use our own team and come up with something great. So we did reach out to him. We didn't really get a lot of feedback from him, so we figured we would just start our own project.
Right. Yeah, and so that's a very small player then, and without much traction. But Gulden coin is getting a bit of traction right now, but you guys were the first to launch with the media, so I guess you get that first mover advantage in that sense. You're like the Bitcoin amongst the Dutch coins.
Yeah.
But what do you think of their model? They have 1.7 billion of money supply after 40 years, and they will spread 10% amongst the Dutch people in the first year, so that's 170 million. That's 100 per person, so that's 1.7 million persons.
Yeah.
So in a way, they want to involve more people then, I guess.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think a bit of competition is always good. It shows that we're onto something good, and I know it's been keeping us sharp. People seem to enjoy a good cage fight, I guess. With a chance of sounding a bit sarcastic, well, I wish them all the best, of course. I think that the big difference here is that our goal was to set up an alternative for Bitcoin, a Dutch alternative. It is why we chose a total of 21 million, and it's why we chose to give away 50% to the Dutch citizens. Where Gulden coin, they choose to only give away 10% to the Dutch people, so that's a 10% pre-mine, allowing other coins to mine and own a lot of Gulden coin. Thinking about it, it actually sounds a lot like they're recreating the euro, I guess.
Yeah, and why did you use 21 million? Because most recent altcoins have a much bigger monetary base. I guess if you would have chosen 21 billion, for example, then people could have claimed 50,000. You know, like you said earlier, Dutch people love free money, and if it's 50,000, even though it's of course it's psychological, it may lead to more people claiming the coins, and also then if the coin becomes very successful, then you don't have to pay 0.0000001 for a bear, for example, but you could just pay one EFL for a bear. So why 21 million?
Yeah, that's a good question. I can't really go into any technical details, but I guess
it's more of an economical detail, I guess.
Yeah, it works. I guess it works two ways as well, though, because I mean, you could pay with 0.00001, but you could also it could also work the opposite way, where you'd have to pay like 50,000 EFL. It all depends on the value.
It's. I mean, we all have to see how it works out. I mean, with Bitcoin so far, it also works well, and you can just use milli Bitcoin and stuff like that.
Yeah, so exactly. That's something we've been considering as well. That's something you could always fall back to, working with cents or something. 21 million just seemed right at the times, especially since we were actually thinking about just recreating coming up with a Bitcoin only a Dutch version, and making sure that the Dutch would have or allowing Dutch people or figuring out some way for the Dutch people to start using cryptocurrency easier.
Yeah, and you guys work together with a company called Advertouch. That's where you send, when it comes to those send payments, and that's some sort of an online marketing company. Who's behind that company? Are you guys the owners of that company too, or is it an independent company?
Actually, it's a good friend of us. He owns most of that company, and he's the one that reached out to us, and he noticed that there was a lot of questions regarding the first distribution system we had, where we were asking for a lot of privacy information. He helped us set up an automated system that would just be a lot more, I guess, user friendly.
Yeah. Hey, and the famous Dutch politician Geert Wilders, he's often asking for the Gulden to return and publishing all sorts of studies he's done together with independent research firms. Are you guys in touch with his party to see if you can work together? Or?
Not yet. We have established some contacts with some people from the PVV. But we figured it would be good to just wait it out a bit, see where this were going before diving into some what do you call it?
You want to stay sort of neutral.
Yeah, I guess.
Politically.
I mean, obviously with Geert in the news. I mean, he's been shouting a lot of stuff. We don't really want to be associated with his party.
Right.
So we figured, well, maybe it's something to consider in time, but not just jump into right now.
Yeah, it could give an extra boost, but then again, Euro could also scare away some other users potentially that are not a fan of this politician. Yeah. Are there already merchants that accept e-gulden?
Actually, yes. We have established contact with Lightbait. They are now offering their merchant tool. So there's actually already some companies in Holland that have been contacting us, some fast food chains, supermarkets that we have contacted, and just tell them that, let them know who we are, what we're doing, and also showing them that accepting Electronic Gulden isn't actually that hard.
No, it's. I think everything stands or falls with the whole merchant adoption process. Like, I think one of the main reasons why I always thought Aurora coin would fail is that people would just sell their fresh Aurora coins for Bitcoin because there was no way they could spend it. Yeah. So you really need to work on your merchant base, I guess, in order to keep the coin alive. Otherwise, people will just sell them, especially when the prices go up a bit more. They will then see. Right now, it's worth, if you have 50 coins, it's not worth much. So there's not much point in selling them, I guess. But as soon as they reach a few euros, then people at some point think, well, I might as well sell them. Yeah. So unless of course they have merchants they can spend it with. Yeah, well, it's actually quite funny because right now obviously our priority is to get people to start using the Electronic Gulden as a day-to-day currency. Especially in the beginning, we received a lot of emails from new users that wanted to know how they could receive their free shares of Electronic Gulden. And then later on, these same people would email us and be like, all right, I got them, and now what do I do with them? So we would answer and say, well, you can trade them for Bitcoin on Bittrex, or you can buy more on this website and start trading and making some profit, etc. But that's not what people want. People want to and expect to be able to pay and buy stuff with their money. So our goal is to start getting the Dutch citizens to actually consider using the Electronic Gulden as their new method of payment. Right. So merchants, you're working on it, and when it comes to liquidity and exchanges, I bought them on Bittrex, but I think you can also buy and sell them at Poloniex, and even now also you can buy them in Holland with Lightbit, right? Yeah, Lightbit is really great actually, because as you might understand, people that are new to cryptocurrency, they don't really know anything about exchanges, and they don't understand that they have to buy Bitcoins and then change them for other coins, and that's like a lot of people that we've been reaching out to through media. They have actually never heard about cryptocurrency in general, so how are we going to explain them how it works? So that Lightbit website is actually really great for like starters to use Ideal and buy Electronic Gulden right away. Right. Some other famous or important Dutch Bitcoin experts, like for example Tuur de Meester, my business partner, but also Jouke Hofman of Bitonic. They're quite critical about all these altcoins, especially also these national coins. Like Ture said the other day to me in our weekly podcast that he doesn't really see any value for it, because the good thing about currency is that it's the more widely it is accepted, the more useful it is. I mean, you don't want to have dozens of wallets of all sorts of local or altcoins. So if you have a few coins that are accepted worldwide or possibly for a specific purpose, I don't know, then they're useful. But why would you want to have a coin that you can only spend in Holland, a coin you can only spend in Germany, etc., etc.? Could you answer that question?
With Jouke from Bitonic, I understand that he's obviously got a business to run, and he's trying to sell bitcoins here, so I can't blame him for saying stuff like other cryptos aren't going to be useful. But I mean, if you look at it, we've already reached maybe 25,000 people that have never heard about cryptocurrencies and using the Electronic Gulden. Obviously, it's a version of Bitcoin, but it has helped. And made sure that a lot of new people are starting to use cryptocurrency. So saying that it's not useful is just not true. I mean, if you ask anyone in Holland about bitcoins, obviously there's going to be some people that have heard of it, but using a name like Gilder just allows for a lot of more people to start or be interested, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit more flexible when it comes to altcoins. I own quite a few of them myself, and to me, it's like a sort of a beautiful competition right now, where in the end a few coins will survive. But I'm a bit skeptical too when it comes to those national coins, because I travel a lot and I just don't want to have wallets and wallets and wallets of all sorts of national coins. At the same time, I do really agree with you that it's kind of a stepping stone for people into the realm of cryptocurrencies. So in that sense, it's sort of a gateway drug to Bitcoin, possibly. Yeah. It's like the marijuana to Bitcoin. But okay. And what else have you guys planned for development? Are you going to change, for example, the mining algorithm? Are you going to upgrade the script end, for example?
I guess any technical details you would have to just have an interview with Eduard in the near future. But I know our developers are working on implementing script end, for example. That's something we're working on. Again, any technical details and stuff like that, it's not really something I'm working on right now.
Okay. Well, we already talked for 30 minutes now, so or a little bit less, so we can wrap up. Is there anything else you wanna share with the community?
I would really like to thank our community and fans, because without them, none of this would be possible. Obviously, as you might understand, we don't really have the financial room for a support team or help desk right now. So, we asked a lot of new users to move to our community forums and ask their questions there. And later on, we noticed that our own community was helping new users to get started and giving them instructions on our forums. And this really took a lot of stress off our support team, and it allowed for us to get some much-needed sleep. A strong community is what will get this coin really far. So again, I would really like to thank our community and fans. And obviously, I would like to thank you, Paul, for taking the time to take this interview.
Yeah, my pleasure. It was nice talking to you, and I'm glad we eventually got to this call, because it was delayed a few times, and I was actually getting a bit worried and about to sell my coins. But based on this call,
hold on to them, Paul. Just keep holding on. It'll make you rich.
I will huddle a bit longer. Yeah. But thank you very much. And so today I talked to Robert X, and hopefully in the future we'll find out what Robert's surname is. And he's of Electronic Gulden. You can find him at e-gulden.com, op egulden.com. Yes. And keep in touch and let me know if there's anything I could do.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated, Paul. Let's stay in touch.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.